Hello, it's May 1, first day of May in our new normal. My name is Perry Floyd. I'm a pastor and a chaplain with some words for you today in my walk with God. So you need a Bible this morning. I'm going to look briefly in the book of Galatians, chapter 5. I don't know if you've noticed, this guy is a tool, but he's also a tether. And there have been some mission trips I've gone on out of the country where I had to leave this at home in the last several years and live for 2 weeks or 3 weeks without phones. And it's been amazing. I've learned how to do that. You know the word peripheral? Here's my peripheral vision. It's what I can see that's not right in front of me. And I've noticed lately that some things are peripheral. The things that really matter rise to the surface, and the peripheral, the okay, but not that important stuff, that's kind of dropped away. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that this morning. One of the most impactful books I've ever read is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a survivor of the Holocaust. He was in Auschwitz concentration camp, a brilliant psychotherapist, and he wrote this little book after he got out. And in it he said, they took everything away from us. They took away our identity. They took away our pride. They took away our everything that meant to be a person. They took away. They reduced us to a number, tattooed on the inside of our arm. He said, but there was one thing they couldn't take away. He said they could not take away our ability to respond to what was happening. We all had the opportunity to respond with complete despair, and he saw many kill themselves or just slowly sink into depression, despair, and die. He saw others respond with great anger, with great fear, or with great courage. And that's what he came out of Auschwitz knowing, is that you can take everything away from me, but not my ability to choose how I'm going to respond. And how are you responding to this COVID crisis? In the book of Galatians, the Hallmark of Christians is shared. In chapter 5, Paul writes a book, and because I'm old, I remember this song from the 70s. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. If you're like me, you remember that song. It was a big one. That comes right out of the Gospel of John, where Jesus said, this is how they will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for each other. And in Galatians 5, here's what Paul says. For you were called to freedom, brothers. That's verse 13. You were called to freedom. To follow Jesus means I'm free. Only, he says, don't use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love, serve one another. In other words, I'm free to serve. I'm free to love. There are no restrictions on how much I love and no restrictions on how much I serve. My freedom is not for me to do whatever it is my flesh happens to want to do. My freedom is through relationships to serve and love other people. He says the whole law is fulfilled in one word. In other words, the entire Mosaic code, the Old Testament, can be lived out in one word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. But then he says, but if you bite and devour one another, watch out that you are not consumed by one another. So the word for today, from my perspective, is I'm free to love. I'm free to serve. Peripheral things, they drop by the side. Main things, proper things, appropriate things rise to the top. A few verses earlier in that chapter, he said this, for in Christ Jesus, neither circumcision nor uncircumcision counts for anything. And the word counts there is a word that means strong or has power or matters. But, he writes, only faith working through love. And so what really counts, especially now, is not religious stuff, but faith working through love. In the next chapter, he uses that same phrase in Galatians 6. Neither circumcision counts for anything, nor uncircumcision, but a new creation. And then he says, as for all who walk by this rule, peace and mercy be upon them and upon the Israel of God. And so today, I'm looking around for someone to serve. I'm looking through the tools that I have, the tethers, the online things. Who can I serve? How can I love? Because you can coop me up and you can make me wear a mask and gloves and you can say stick 6 feet away, but you can't stop me from loving and serving. That's the word for today. I'm Perry Floyd, looking free as a goose for someone to serve.